grew up in Tremont in Utah. Do we have anyone here from Tremont? A few people, yes. Who has parents here from Tremont? I know I saw a few people that have parents from Tremont, so I probably know your parents. I probably went to school with your parents. So I'm from a little town called Snowflake, Arizona, and I'm actually going to show you. So this is what she kind of talked about. So I'm from Tremont, Utah. I live in Snowflake, Arizona. I graduated from Bear River High School. I graduated from Riggs College. Yes, I'm that old. It's called BYU, Idaho now, but it was Riggs College. And I graduated from Utah State University, where you guys are at right now, so it's kind of fun to come back. This is where I graduated. I taught first grade for 4 years. I teach preschool right now. I have 5 kids, 3 boys and 2 girls, and I am an author. So I don't know if you guys heard her mention that. So I wanted to show you my books. You guys ever seen these books, maybe, at Desert Book? If not, they're really good. So they're called the Princess Chronicles. They're about a princess, obviously, but it's a little twist. So I'll tell you about the first one. It's called I'm Not Cinderella. It's a girl that lives in Idaho, and she finds a secret door in her grandma's attic, and she goes through this secret door, and she finds herself in the Cinderella story. There's a stepmother, there's stepsisters, there's a prince, but she's from Idaho, and she's wearing pants and sneakers, and so she doesn't really fit in that story. And she starts to kind of mess stuff up in that story. And at the very end, she has to decide if she needs to kind of fix it to make it go back to how it's supposed to be, or change it to a new story. So that's kind of how my twists are. It takes a princess, but it kind of twists it. So I love to write about princesses. That's my favorite thing. I like to read about princesses. I love fairy tales. And that's where my passion is. It's always good to have a passion, something that you like to do. So today, on my talk, I'm going to talk to you guys about girls. Girls are amazing. Now, Gordon B. Hinckley, he said, woman is God's supreme creation. I love this quote. It is very blunt. It is very specific. He didn't say woman is God's cheese pizza creation. Is that what he said? Did he say woman is God's pepperoni +1 topping pizza creation? No, he said women is God's supreme creation. When you go order a supreme pizza, it's everything. So Gordon B. Hinckley, he said, woman is God's supreme creation, so you are amazing. I need you guys to remember that. I know lots of people tell you girls are special, you guys are special, and you're like, oh yes, whatever. But you guys are. You are, and that's what we're going to kind of talk about today. So, there's a little difference between boys and girls, and there's a reason there's a difference between boys and girls. Now, have you guys ever heard of Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire? They're old. You might have to YouTube it. You might have to Google it. But it was this dancing couple that used to dance on old-time movies, and they were beautiful. She had like the long dress, the high heels, and they did beautiful dances. But, interesting fact, Ginger Rogers did everything Fred Astaire did, but backwards and in high heels. So, a boy could do that? No, couldn't. All right. Of course, women don't work as hard as men. They get it right the first time. Yeah? Right? Now, Napoleon Dynamite. Fans? Any fans? Yes? Uh-huh. Okay, so he didn't say this on the movie, but this is something he probably would have said. I passed the sacrament to my crush, so I guess you can say things are getting pretty serious. Yeah, sometimes boys think a little different than girls. Now, this is us girls. Before church, we look like a mess. Church, you can look amazing. Yes, right? Sometimes boys have a hard time looking amazing. There's a difference. We have different priorities. Boys and girls are different, right? Now this is my family. So speaking of a little differences, I'm going to tell you guys a story, but first let me introduce my family. So there's my husband at the top, kind of cute. Yeah. I'll tell you I said that. Then my son over to the left, his name is Tyen. He's 14. He wanted to come today to be my photographer. I said no. So then there's Trista. She's 13. And then I have a 12-year-old son, Trey. He wanted to come too. I said no. And then I have 2 twins. They are 4 years old, and they are crazy, crazy, crazy. The boy, Jaden, we lose him every day, like 5 times. True story. So that's my family. Now, over here on the side, it says you had me at Rose's and a date to Walmart. So I'm going to tell you guys a true story about my husband. So remember, boys and girls are different, but that's good. We need to be different. Women, we are amazing, and men are amazing in different So I met my husband in Walmart. True story. So I always tell my young women, don't ever go to Walmart in pajamas because you never know who you're going to meet, right? So my husband, he was in Walmart. He saw my roommate and I. We were walking in Walmart. We were getting a gift for my roommate's niece for her birthday. Anyway, my husband, he is a flirt, and so he came up and talked to us. And I was like, okay, weirdo, I don't know who you are. And just didn't really talk to him because he was a little weird. He was cute, but weird. So that night, there was a dance at BYU, Idaho, up at Rick's, and he came to the dance. And he was really cute and he was fun, so I gave him a second chance and I kind of talked to him and he was nice. Well, my sister, who is 14, she was up for the weekend and she thought it was cool to hang out with her college sister, came to the dance with me because she was 14, and my husband, wasn't my husband at the time, this cute boy right here, asked her to dance just to be nice because he thought, I'm going to ask this cute 14-year-old girl to dance. So my sister, who takes credit for this happening, she told him, my sister likes you. I did not tell her that. And then she told him she wants you to kiss her. I did not tell her that. Okay? So that night, so that kind of piqued his interest. He was ready to go home from a mission. He'd only been home for a couple of weeks and he was like, yes, I'm going to kiss someone. Boys and girls, we think different, right? So my husband was walking me back to my apartment that night. My sister ran ahead, which I thought was kind of weird. She ran to the apartment first to leave us alone. He tried to kiss me. So this is what I did. So he's coming in for the kiss and I turned my cheek. I did. I totally gave him the cheek. And he kind of looked at me kind of funny and we were talking, and everything was fine. And then he tried again. He tried 2 times. Okay? So, guys, think differently than girls. He came in again. I did it again. I turned the cheek. And he's like, what's wrong? And I said, I've never kissed anyone. And he goes, but your sister said you wanted me to kiss you. I'm like, no, I did not say that. But here's the good part. That kind of piqued his interest. He thought, wow, this girl's never kissed anyone. So then it was kind of a game. And he thought, okay, I want to be her first kiss. So later on, we kind of dated for a while, and we did end up getting married. But he said that that was very intriguing to him, to have someone that was strong, someone that felt confident, to not kiss anyone before. And then now we have this, fun little family. Cool, huh? So boys and girls are different, but it's a good thing. It's good that we have boys that act the way they do, and then it's good that we have girls to kind of tame them down. Right? Okay. So my talk is mostly going to be about girls today, because I want you guys to know how beautiful and amazing you are and how strong you are. And that's what the world needs. That's what boys need. That's what everyone needs. Okay? So, as I said earlier, girls are awesome. The virtue is the strength and power of the daughters of God. And Elaine S. Dalton said that. She has some amazing quotes. So if you want to write that one down, it's kind of a short one. Virtue is the strength and power of the daughters of God. So my husband, he admired my virtue that I had, that I hadn't kissed anyone before. And that made me strong to him. That impressed him. So that's a quality that we can have as women. You guys got that? No? I'm going to count to 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, I'm going to skip over these 2 slides because I want to ask you guys a question. How can we stand strong and defend our role of being a woman in this world? So I gave you my story of how I chose to not kiss anyone until I was older, and that was something that I stood strong in. Now, not saying that that needs to be a goal for you guys, but you guys are in this world. We always talk about being in the world, not of the world. How can you stand strong and still be in the world? Now, don't answer this question. I am going to ask you guys more questions later because I do want some help in this talk. I'm not going to stand up here and give you a list of what to do and tell you what I did. I am going to have you guys answer me some questions, but this one I want you guys just to kind of think about. Okay, so you guys are in this world, and I kind of feel a little bit sorry for you guys because your youth is different than my youth. High school was hard for me. Junior high was hard for me, but it's even harder for you guys. I didn't have social media. I didn't have Facebook. I didn't have Instagram. I didn't have all this stuff where it's just everywhere. You guys just feel like it's just everywhere you look. It's everywhere, all the time. And so it's hard to be strong and a woman of God in the world. So, my talk, and you can put this at the very top of your notebooks, I know you guys all have notebooks, is lessons I learned from a beauty pageant. You're probably like, oh. Beauty pageants kind of have a taboo, kind of a negative look at when we think about a beauty pageant. Now I'm going to put on my crown, because I'm going to talk about a beauty pageant. So Trista, I need your help. Come here too. She's going to help me put on this crown since I'm holding this adapter thing. Oh my goodness. Okay, you gotta have a crown, right? When you talk about beauty pageants? Okay, here we go. And plus, when are you gonna wear a crown? Can't wear it to the grocery store. Okay, put on, put straight, sparkly. Okay, so lessons I learned from a beauty pageant. Now, I will have a point about a beauty pageant. So I was in a beauty pageant. I was in high school. I did not want to be in a beauty pageant, but the cool thing about beauty pageants, they are actually scholarship pageants. There's a lot of beauty pageants that you enter where there is a prize. But I entered a scholarship pageant where we could earn money for college. So as soon as I found that out, I was like, yes, bonus. So I did. I entered a beauty pageant. And we're going to talk about things that we can learn from a beauty pageant. So pageant. The definition of a pageant is a public entertainment consisting of a procession of people in elaborate, colorful costumes or an outdoor performance of a historical scene. But in North America, it is simply defined as a beauty contest. That's it. So when you think of a pageant, what does your brain think? Beauty contest. Because that's what we do. We do. In America, we have lots of beauty pageants. We have teen beauty pageants. We have, Miss Universe. We have Miss America. We have state. We have county. We have tons of beauty pageants. Okay? We focus on the beauty. So I want you guys to write this question in your notebook. And this is where I'm going to have you guys help me out. And you're going to give me some of these answers. So first, write the question down. What is the world's definition of beauty? So the world's definition, when we think about those beauty pageants that we watch or go to or are in, since I was in one, and we think about movies that we watch and magazines and things that you guys see on Facebook, what does the world define as beauty? So go ahead and raise your hand and let's name some back there. Tan skin, long hair, blue eyes, good. Attractive. Okay, so what people think are attractive. Good. What else does people think is beautiful? Outward appearance. Good. Right here. How thin you are. Okay. Physical flawlessness. Ooh, like all terminology, yes. How you dress. The clothes you wear, right? Tall and skinny. Right here.
How close you are with the world standards, kind of?
Yeah, the world standards. Whatever the world says is beautiful. And my question is who decides that? Who decides how tall you should be and what color of hair you should have and what color of eyes? And beauty can be different. So right now for 30 seconds, I want you guys just to make a list. And this can be a long list because it's everything that we see on the outside, right? The world defines what we see on the outside as beautiful. So this is your list. I'm not going to ask you anymore, so you guys can just write down of what the world defines as beauty. Ready, set, go. Second. 5, 2, 1. Okay. Now I love that you guys are writing. This is an easy list to write because this is what we see. This is what we see on movies. This is what we see in magazines, Facebook, all the place, everywhere. This is what you guys are plastered with, okay? There's a quote by Jeffrey R. Holland, and I like this meme. It says, I don't always give the best talks at conference. Oh wait, yes I do. I love Elder Holland's talk. It's awesome. But he gave a quote. He says, You are bombarded. Remember that word I used? You guys are bombarded in movies, television, fashion magazines, and advertisements with the message that looks are everything. The pitch is, if your looks are good enough, your life will be glamorous and you will be happy and popular. So that's what you guys are faced with every day. I always think of that song, Popular. Do you guys ever sing Logan? Popular. So anyway, these are some beauty standards around the world. Now you guys named a whole bunch of things that talked about blonde hair and blue eyes and tall and skinny, and this is what we kind of see as beautiful. But did you know that beauty standards differ around the world? And it's that whole thing of what people see as beautiful. If you look at beautiful in the dictionary, beautiful is something that's appealing to the eyes. Something that's appealing to the eyes. Now I brought a dozen roses up here, partly because this is the roses that remind me of my husband when he, remember I met him in Walmart. He came the next day after I didn't kiss him, and I thought, oh, he's long gone. But the next day, he came with a dozen roses, and he took me back to Walmart for our first date. Yeah, he was cheap, he was a return missionary, but it was fun. So, roses are beautiful. They're appealing to the eye. But when you travel around the world, it's different. It's not the same. So I want to show you a couple examples of how it changes. So here's a girl. I found this when I was researching some things online. This is her, and she's beautiful. She has no makeup on, and she took a picture of herself, and she sent her picture to different magazine companies around the world, and she gave them one direction. She said, "Make me beautiful." That's it. That's all she said. So she wanted to see what other countries around the world would do to her picture to make her beautiful. So I'm going to show you a few, okay? So this is in Argentina. This is what they thought would make her more beautiful. So pink lipstick, a little purple on the eyelashes, longer eyelashes. This is in Australia. Now in Australia, you got to think too, where different parts in the world, what they do in Australia, there's a lot of beaches. And so they do a lot of self-tanning and just a lot of natural look because they're outside a lot. So that look is going to be different than Argentina. This is in Chile. This is in Morocco. So we talked about clothes. Sometimes clothes is what the world deems as beautiful. This is what's beautiful in Morocco. India. This is in Greece. This is a picture in UK, so over the British people. So a UK study suggests that British women spend 474 days of their life applying makeup. Does that sound like an astronomical number? I told my 12-year-old son that, and he said, no, you guys don't spend that much time doing makeup. And I told him, I said, well, if you think about it, if you kind of add hair and makeup and everything we do in the morning, say a half hour. Try to do a half hour. And then you times it by 7, and then you times it by 52, and then you times it by how many years you're alive. Yeah, it kind of adds up to be a big number. And he was like, whoa. And he goes, why? And I'm like, I don't know. I just do it. So that's a lot of time. Another survey said that 91% of women said they would rather cancel a first date than go without wearing makeup. Would you guys ever cancel a first date if you have makeup on? Everyone shake their no. Mm-mm. If he doesn't like you without your makeup, then he's not worth your time. Okay? Luckily, my husband likes me without my makeup too, so bonus. So yeah, isn't that crazy? 91% would rather cancel a date if they weren't ready. Okay, this is a Germany picture. She's like kind of whitewashed. Germany spends more on makeup than any other European country. They spend more on makeup. She doesn't even look like herself. She just looks completely different. All right, this is the United States. Now I want you guys just to kind of soak this picture in. Doesn't even look like her, right? Now this is what you guys are bombarded with. In America, we do a lot of photoshopping. A lot of photoshopping. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Dove beauty commercials where there's a girl that will come in and her hair's pulled back in a ponytail, she has no makeup, and they show the steps it makes to make a magazine. So they put on her makeup, they curl her hair, and They take pictures with their hair blown, and then they take pictures, but then they Photoshop it. They make her neck longer, they make her cheeks skinnier, they make her nose pointier, they make her arms skinnier, and then they put it on the magazine. So it's not real. So look at this. That's not the same girl, right? So you guys, this is what you're faced with every day. Remember that word bombarded? You are bombarded with all this stuff that is not real. It's kind of sad. Like when I saw that, it kind of broke my heart. All the other countries, it was like, oh, a little bit more, eyelash, eyeshadow and eyelash mascara. I keep using the word mascara. But no, they completely changed her. That's crazy. So in one other survey, there was 60% of people that said inner beauty counted the most. Now, I'm glad there were 60% of people that said that, but there were still 40% that didn't believe that. And that also breaks my heart. I wish that was higher. All right, so who decides what is beautiful? Now, I love this picture because the crowns are like huge. And if you guys look at these little girls in the front, there's one girl that's kind of like leaning. She's like trying to smile because I think it's like really, really heavy. So who decides what is beautiful? As you guys saw in those pictures, it's different everywhere you go. It's all different. So this is where we're going to kind of take a point, and in a minute, then we're going to kind of twist it to what my talk's really about. When I was in my pageant, they always have a judging criteria that they judge you on, because there has to be a winner, and then a first attendant, second attendant, and then so on. And they have to judge you on something. So this is what they usually judge in a beauty pageant. So you guys can write this down, because we're going to come back to this later, and we're going to kind of twist it. So write these 3 things down, right? Interview. So they do an interview portion. And when I did my interview, you guys, this was like my most nervous, scary part. I walked into this room, and there was this big line, kind of like this front row, of just these 10 people. And they all had these notebooks with pens, and they were just very serious and straight-faced. And I had to come to the very front, and you're supposed to stand really straight and pretend that you're not scared to death. And they ask you questions. And they ask you questions about political affairs, and they ask you questions about your education. They just want to make sure to kind of get to know you, and they want to know what else that you know besides beauty pageants. And it was really scary. But yeah, they judge you on interview. They judge you on swimsuit and evening gown. Now, swimsuit and evening gown is a little bit different than what people think when they think, oh, the swimsuit part, that's embarrassing. What they're mostly judging you on is your confidence and your elegance and how you present yourself. So when I did my pageant, we had 2 stars on the stage. So we had to walk out, like with my evening gown, and we had to walk over here very elegantly to the first star, and then we had to put our hand on our hip and pop our leg and smile. And then we had to go to the other star, and we had to put our hand on our hip, pop our leg, and smile. Now, if I went out and if I was going like this, would I be judged very well? No. So swimsuit and the evening gown was more just about your confidence. Okay? So that's what we were judged on. And then talent. Talent, they wanted to see what else you could do besides just a beauty pageant. So they wanted to see how well-rounded you were. Okay? So we're going to go back to that in just a little bit. So this is my pageant picture. Go ahead, laugh. You guys can laugh. Laugh, laugh, laugh. I know, I almost didn't show this picture. I thought, no, I need to show the picture. So the pageant I was in, it was called Miss Bear River Valley Pageant. And in really, really, really tiny numbers. I'm not going to say it out loud. That's when I did it, because it was a really long time ago. But I have to tell you about this picture. So my mother, my sweet mother, she made an appointment for me at a beauty salon to get my hair done. We were getting pictures, like professional pictures that they were going to put all around town. And we went to the beauty salon, and I told the lady, this is what I told her. I said, I want some loose curls on top with a few little wispies right here on the side. That's what I told her. Is that what it looks like? No, it looks like a poodle on top of my head, right? And then those curls go all the way around. It's like a mullet. It was crazy, okay? When she got done, we had 10 minutes before the pictures. And you can kind of tell my eyes are just a little bit red because I was trying so hard not to cry. Because it was pretty traumatic because, oh my goodness, yes, I would never do my hair like that. But that was my pageant picture. But it was okay, right? Whew. Okay, so moving on. Number 2, this is the next question I want you guys to write in your notebook. This is where we're going to kind of flip it. What is Heavenly Father's definition of beauty? Now you can kind of look at your first list that we did, and it's kind of practically the opposite. We were talking about everything on the outside, and now we're going to be talking about things on the inside. So as soon as you guys write that question down, let's talk about some of these, and then I'll give you guys 30 seconds to write some down, okay? So go ahead and raise your hand. What does Heavenly Father define as beauty?
Happiness.
Happiness. When you're happy, makes you beautiful, right?
Like how much you love yourself.
How much you love yourself. Good.
Your inner.
Your inner beauty. Perfect. Right here.
Being kind.
Being kind. When you're kind to someone, it makes them beautiful. It makes you want to be by them because they're kind, right? Back here. A little bit louder. The church standards. When you follow the church standards, exactly, it makes you beautiful. Okay, right here. Virtue. Mm-hmm. When you're doing service, good. Perfect. You guys are popping up all the answers.
Modest.
Modesty, yes. Back here.
Confidence.
Confidence. Love it. Okay. Those are all perfect. There's actually lots more of what Heavenly Father defines as beauty. So I'm going to give you guys 30 seconds to write on your list. So I'm not going to look at your list. This is your list that you guys can keep. Think of as many things that you can write down of what Heavenly Father defines as beauty. Ready? Go. Okay, 10 seconds. Okay. Now you guys can keep writing if you want to. You don't have to stop. It's not a class. But anyway, I did notice something, and I noticed this with a few other classes that I've taught this to. A lot of people stop sooner on this list. I feel like the first list is a little bit more easy because it's things that we see, it's things that we're bombarded with, it's all stuff on the outside, but when we really have to think of what Heavenly Father defines as beauty, it takes a little bit more time. We have to really kind of dig down deep to think what makes us beautiful on the inside. So we need to work on that. We need to make that list even longer than the first, okay? So I have another quote by Elaine S. Dalton. She's another one of my favorites, as I've already mentioned. This is a talk she gave called Remember Who You Are. I was reminded of my divine identity, and I learned about what I now call deep beauty. So when we talk about real beauty, we talk about deep beauty. The kind of beauty that shines from the inside out. It is the kind of beauty that cannot be painted on, surgically created, or purchased. It is the kind of beauty that doesn't wash off. It is spiritual attractiveness. So do you guys put any of that stuff on your list? Deep beauty, spiritual attractiveness, can't be painted on, can't be washed off, because it's who you are. Can't be changed. It's beautiful. All right. I want to show you guys this quick little Mormon message that talks about true confidence and virtue.
Teenagers want to feel accepted and feel like they have a place in the world and in society. That's really hard sometimes. You're always comparing yourself, especially as girls, we're always comparing ourselves to other girls. Like, oh, she's so pretty. The big secret is you can't have that confidence without the companionship of the Holy Ghost. My confidence has changed so much since I was baptized, because before, I guess, with boys especially, I just wanted them to like me and like what I looked like, and like, I think honestly it's when my self-confidence like hit rock bottom. I came to a point in my life when I realized that I really didn't have the personal relationship with my Savior that I wanted to. I was praying for answers, and I knew that Heavenly Father heard me, and I could feel His love as I was praying. If I didn't have that, I wouldn't be here today because I have that knowledge. I'm able to be happy. Once I figured out that I don't need to have the acceptance of other boys, the only person that needs to tell you you're beautiful, the only person who needs to tell you that you have so many wonderful talents is the Lord, and because that's what He's blessed you with. And He will tell you that if you ask Him. And then that confidence will come in time. Not at first maybe, but it'll come eventually. When you make that commitment to be sexually pure, it makes a huge difference in your life. It's changed a lot about me because I now, when people talk to me in just a way that they shouldn't, it just makes me think that, I'm a daughter of God and I know who I am, and that's not okay. You can't say that to me, and I deserve a lot more than that. Sexual purity is totally important when it comes to confidence. When you break the law of chastity, you lose that confidence, and you're kind of looking to yourself like, why did I do this? To choose to be sexually pure, it's more than just something that's like a restriction to us. I think that it's something that you choose because it makes you more confident, and knowing that I don't need to do these things with the opposite sex to make me feel better about myself. Breaking the law of chastity is it's a huge sin, but there are ways to come back. And I know people who have done that, and they've said it was the best decision of their life. And yeah, it's hard to walk down to that office, but they come out feeling so much better. You're not going to take that step unless you feel that loss of the spirit, and unless you recognize that and you realize this is not good. I don't feel right. I can't have the companionship of the Holy Ghost, and I need to make a change. Gaining the Spirit back in your life is everything. You want to have the Holy Ghost with you all the time. I guess if you're following the commandments and you really know that you're loved and that you have the Holy Ghost with you and that He's not going to leave you if you are doing everything with an eye to the glory of God, then you can be confident because the Holy Ghost really can be with you.
So I love that video because that's something that we don't always add to our list, and that's another thing you guys are bombarded with is relationships, being virtuous in relationships. When you guys watch movies and when you watch TVs, it's not real. It's a movie that's made for an hour and a half or 2 hours, and a couple meet and they think they're happy, and it's not real. And so that's another thing that makes you beautiful is to be modest and to be virtuous and have all of those chaste things that are important to remember. Okay, so I wanted to kind of add that, and what better way to do it than to have a Mormon message, right? Okay, so I put on my banner from my pageant. So I did not win. I got third attendance, which was still awesome, and I got money to go